Today's guest is Mike Caladine. A former corporal in the Australian Army, Mike's life post-service saw him enter into the world of sales and leadership, where he joined Bartercard as a trade consultant before working his way up to becoming their international sales director, leading teams across 16 countries. As a current master franchisee of Venue Smart Australia, Mike has been incredibly proactive in his approach to modern marketing, taking on board initiatives to strengthen and deepen the relationships with his customers. Today, you'll learn about the simple yet incredibly effective marketing initiatives that Mike is undertaking with his customers, strengthening their relationships and deepening their connection. And you'll also learn about how a similar practice for your own business could provide you equal, if not greater, results. Let's welcome Mike to the pod. You're the second guest from the Gold Coast, beautiful part of Australia. So I think we're going to have to start getting a few more up there. Then I might have to fly up there one day just to do a couple of in-person ones, just to get a bit of sunshine on my back.
You need it.
Mate, I'm looking forward to our chat today. You're doing some really unique things for your customers, and we'll get into that in just a moment as to what that is. And I think it just goes to show that in marketing, not everything has to be complex, not everything has to be super over the top. You can just do the bare basic principles and they can be still incredibly effective. So yeah, really looking forward to it, and thanks for your time once again.
Our pleasure.
So to start off with, before you even came into sales and into marketing, you were a corporal in the Australian Army. So how did that transition from the military side of things and then into the world of business? How has that experience shaped your career going forward, do you think?
Oh, good question. Gee, we're going back a few years. I joined the Army as an electronics technician apprentice back when I was 16 years old. I mainly repaired military telecommunication equipment and served a total of 10 years. I think a couple of the big takeaways for me moving from that into business was understanding that, success has a formula, right? And we need to adopt robust processes and systems to consistently get the outcomes that we're looking for. And that was very, very strongly trained in the military. And the other was the discipline that's required. I mean, all the really successful entrepreneurs and business owners that I know have stringent disciplines in place. I mean, they execute with passion all day, every day, even when they don't want to. And I think the difference is that they do the stuff that less successful people don't do as much of.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, and that's such a simple message. You hear people talk about it all the time. You know, the successful people, they just execute. And I suppose the two of us, we're obviously in the entrepreneurial side of things, and we've got that mindset, so we can't really relate to the other side of the spectrum, so to speak. But I would assume that a lot of people on the other side of the spectrum that aren't in that mindset, they probably sit there and go, oh yeah, that's all just a bit of words at the end of the day. But once you are in that mindset and you're in that other side of the spectrum where we are, I think you really come to appreciate just how much execution is required and that discipline that you touched on just there. And those are huge components of the military, as you say.
Yeah. And I've tried to adopt that for the 3 decades that I've been working with and supporting the SME community, not just across Australia, but throughout the world as well.
Yeah, definitely. And having that support and bringing that into business is only beneficial for everyone. So let's talk about what you're doing at the moment. And you're with Venue Smart, low cost EFTPOS provider. I'm sure you go into a little bit more about what they do and what you guys do. But you've brought in this really unique marketing method. And if we look at how marketing is these days, the emergent age of marketing as we're in at the moment, it's all about two-way communication between brand, between customer, and going back and forth all the time, instead of what we used to see back in the day, the digital age, and before that, the madman age of marketing, where it was all one way, brand to customer, and there was something coming back in return. So the initiatives that you're undertaking, I think that's a really good example of this two-way communication. Just so speak about what you've been doing with these little short videos that you've been doing for your customers.
Yeah, well, look, I can't take all the credit for it. Must be well over 6 months ago. I met a guy called Greg Smith, who's the owner of Ubuntu. Ubuntu means people. And he created an opportunity for myself and some of the other executives at VenueSmart to really do a high-end LinkedIn course. We were all pretty amateurish, and first of all, they helped us to build an incredible world-class profile on LinkedIn, and then how to use it. Not in the old days, I think people were using LinkedIn almost as a resume, but how to use it for business, right? How to generate leads, how to increase your presence on there. We did a course with a guy called Steve Dart. I think you know Steve is an incredible,
Yes.
and is the highest level of is beyond any level of LinkedIn expert that I thought existed in this country.
Yes.
Now, after we got the profiles and everything built the way that we wanted, we then sort of talked about how do we get the content that we're looking for. And unlike you, I'm not gifted or passionate about writing content.
Sure.
It just doesn't come naturally to me. But I needed content, so I thought, well, how can I support my customers and get content? So I went back to some of my favorite businesses that I work with, and suggested that look, I could do a 2-minute promotional video on you. I'll plaster it all over my LinkedIn and my social media to really support your business, right? I mean, let's face it, the more businesses turn over, with us taking a tiny percentage of the percentage, it assists the VenueSmart as well, and gets me that content into the market that I was looking for.
Most definitely. So it's a very much a win-win situation for all parties involved then.
Yeah, they absolutely love it. They'll often play the little clips to their staff, and it is certainly related in brand new customers for each of the businesses that I've featured as well, which is just incredible.
So taking a step back just briefly, what was the initial attraction, I suppose, or thought process behind wanting to jump on LinkedIn? So you met Greg and he came forward, I would presume, with some sort of proposal for you all. But what was the trigger amongst you and your other franchisees that were thinking, okay, maybe LinkedIn is a good opportunity for us at the moment?
I suppose we offer a world-class payments solution for businesses, and I think most of our profiles were not doing the organisation and the quality of our service justice, right? We weren't in the same. There was a gap between what we actually do and how well we do it and what we look like digitally. So we needed to narrow that gap, right? That was initially, and then we learned so much about how we can, for me, by going that extra mile for my customers, right? Not just saving them money on their processes, not just making it more efficient for them, but to really market their business free of charge to them, has led to an enormous amount of referrals and loyalty with my existing customers.
And that loyalty is what everyone seeks in business, right? If you can keep having that coming back and the referrals are happening, and that is the best position to be in for any type of business. Doesn't matter what you're selling, what you're providing. That is the peak of business for in terms of marketing. And I want to touch on the relationship side of things, because obviously you would have had a really strong relationship with your customers already. Have you really seen this enhance those relationships and possibly extends the duration that they're with VenueSmart?
Yeah, well, look, we have a very sticky product, if you like. Personally, I haven't lost an account that's come on through my processes, but I also just want to give back. So yes, I think the loyalty is there. I've got some really happy and loyal customers, and it's just an extra. It's a cherry on top, if you like, and it gets the Venue Smart name into LinkedIn and a little bit on Facebook as well.
Definitely, definitely. So going back to those videos now, they're very, very simple. For a lot of people listening and watching, they're probably thinking, oh, 2 minute promotional video, it's going to be super complex. You've got different angles happening and all these lights and all this. But it's incredibly simple what you've been doing. And it's been effective in not terms of promoting their businesses, but as you mentioned there, building that loyalty, building their referrals, building that relationship with your customers. So what does a typical 2 minute video, promotional video look like from start to finish for you at the moment?
Oh, it is pretty basic. I did one yesterday. I visited one of my new restaurants in Broadbeach, and I went up there with a friend of mine. It's fantastic food, by the way. More Thai, Broadbeach, and
Oh, lovely.
I just got him to hold a camera. I had a little lapel mic. I did an intro from the from outside of the building. We walked in, had a look at the menu, ordered. While he recorded it, I paid with my card on one of our beautiful VenueSmart FPOS machines, and took a couple of shots of when the food came out, and just told anybody that watches the video how amazing and authentic this food is at Thai Broadbeach. So it's as simple as that. The whole thing we did in one or two takes. Never any more than that. I know that they're a bit raw and gritty, but I think that's okay because it's
Yes.
just real, you know.
Yeah, and the authenticity, which is the buzzword at the moment, of course, in marketing, is coming through there, and it is raw. And you film it on your phone, correct? Like you don't have a professional or entry level camera or anything like that, right?
No, I've got a pretty cheap lapel mic and an iPhone, so it's and then I try to cut it together on iMovie.
Yeah, lovely, perfect. So that just goes to show that simple can be effective, and that you just need to start. And it's timely because I was having a conversation last night at a networking event, and one of the people I was speaking with, they've got a friend or a client who was looking to start a podcast, and she's saying, "Oh, just start it, get it happening, and then worry about the perfection later." And this gentleman, he's very pedantic, I suppose, in terms of wanting to make sure everything's perfect, everything looks good, sounds good, etc., etc. And that's putting him off starting. But if you just take that step and you start, and then you worry about all the minor details later on, you start to get that momentum, and things just fall in place naturally. So it's great to see that you haven't let the desire to have a professional camera, professional microphone, maybe some lights down the line, etc., etc., etc. You haven't let that inhibit you starting this, and you've just said, okay, I'll go out there. What have I got? I've got my phone. Perfect. It's got a camera on there. It does the job. Go find a cheap little microphone off Amazon or Temu or wherever, connect it up, and then that's the start. And then that's your level of expectation, and then you build on there, you build on there, you build on there, you build on there. So I think that's a great message for everyone.
Yeah, and no matter how much I spend, I don't think I'll ever be in your class.
Well, but that's the thing, right? You don't have to be. I think that's really important to reinforce. Is it's good to have someone like myself and my staff come in and do a professional video, but sometimes that real basic, raw, authentic, as we touched on just before, type of videos, they can still be just as effective, because at the end of the day, it's the message and the content that is within it that is more important. I say it to my clients all the time. We can produce an amazing video for you, but if the message within that video is not strong, it's not clear, it doesn't have an effective call to action at the end of it, then it doesn't matter how well we produce the video, what gear we use, it simply will not convert. And I think from the videos I've seen from you, you can see the message there, you can see that personal connection, and that's what engages you in the video and makes you want to watch it. So, where do you see this moving for you going forward? Do you see it expanding out to a wider area? Where do you serve currently? Just the Gold Coast and a little bit further around?
Well, I'm actually the state office holder for Western Australia. So and I've got a team of people that I work with across Australia, including obviously WA, right? But I'm currently based here on the Gold Coast, and you know, it's interesting. Just yesterday, one of my team members that's also here on the Gold Coast is just in the process of signing up a large automotive company, and he's asked me whether I could go and do some a short promotional video for him, because he's promised that as part of the service that he'll get with VenueSmart. So I'm almost professional, because I'm sort of doing it for other people now.
Yes. Add that to a resume, tick it off the box, and say this is our service now. That's fantastic. But I think it's just I'll reinforce it again. It's simple, it's effective, and most importantly, it builds that relationship. And you're not going in there asking anything in return. You're just giving that value, and you're saying, "Look, I'll do this for you. I'm not paying. I'm not charging you for it. You don't have to pay me anything for it. Let's just do it, and let's see what happens." And all the businesses that you've done videos on so far, they're not the multinationals. They're local Gold Coast owned businesses, family businesses, where that personal touch and those personal relationships is what is the lifeblood of their businesses. And to have that promoted online, you see the individual, you learn about the individual. It's so valuable.
Yeah. And see, they're just local businesses competing against the giants in the marketplace, just like we are. We're an Australian-owned, locally based, nationwide company, and we're competing against, trillion-dollar banks, right? That have been overcharging for so long, and so it just gives us an opportunity, like them, to compete against the giants.
100%. I've got two questions for you, Mike, and I think we can probably bring this in with a little bit of your past life as well within the answer. So, first question of the two is, what is the biggest lesson that you've learned over your career to date as a franchisee, a business owner, a marketer? And then the second question, what one tip would you give someone who is completely fresh to marketing to help them improve by 1% today?
Oh, good questions. Look, I think in business, if you're going to be successful long term, you got to do the right thing. Sometimes there's circumstances where we can't really help somebody for whatever reason, and we've got to be honest and let them know. So I think that if you, use the discipline, you have the great processes in place, but every opportunity that we're speaking to a business owner is looking after what's best for them, right? And if we can honestly create a solution that's better, cheaper, more efficient than what we got, well, then we'll offer it to them. If we can't, we'll let them know that they're in a wonderful position, and we'll stay in touch in case circumstances change. But just doing the right thing.
Yeah, yeah, most definitely.
And I think that's also a lesson for somebody brand new. Don't be afraid to stuff it up. Have a look at some of my videos. I'm not. And just do the right thing, but do it often and do it as well as you damn well can.
Yeah, 100%. Put the best foot forward. You're gonna make mistakes. That's okay, but just make sure you come out of the other end with the lesson learned and what you have to do to avoid that in future, and that's it. And do the right thing. I think that's a message that everyone needs to remember at the end of the day, is that you're wanting to do the right thing by your customer, by yourself, by your friends, by your family, etc., etc., etc. And if you've got that mindset of do the right thing, then at the end of the day, everything else is going to fall in place after that.
Yeah. We can learn more, we can get better, and that's always important. But that striving for perfection can't stop us from having a go. right?
Yeah.
And do it as well as we can.
Mike, thank you so much. It's been fantastic to chat this morning and learn a little bit more around what you're doing with your customers on the Gold Coast. And hopefully that's going to expand out to Western Australia, and hopefully a lot of the other Venue Smart franchisees will take on a similar idea across the rest of the country, because it's local business, it helps them out, builds that relationship, and it's a win-win for everyone. So thanks for your time.
Oh, look, it's an extreme pleasure, and thank you so much for inviting me onto the show. It's I love what you're doing out in the marketplace, and if we get big enough and strong enough, maybe I'll engage you to do some of the videos down the track as well.
Yeah, always happy to have a conversation, Mike. So not a problem. Thank you.
Okay, extreme pleasure. Take care.